Hallelujah. Welcome to the Spiritual Development Channel. I'm Nasi Yashuvel. Today we got an awesome lesson. We're going live today. We're going to accept some questions and interact with the audience. And this is a man show, so I'm going to do this once a week with our brothers so we can talk and be live and interact with one another and talk about issues that affect us and things that we can do better or things that our wives can do better or how do we deal with our wives when things go wrong. Because this is a thing I see reoccurring in our relationships in the Hebrew community and as well other communities. So let's feel free, interact, let's be live, let's enjoy ourselves, and let's talk about this. All right, so remember, this is a man show. We need a name for the show. So I want you to put in and text in the comments what do you think is a good name for our show once a week for the brothers to discuss issues and interact and have other guests come on the shows randomly during the week. My schedule kind of fluctuates, so it won't be on a consistent day, but it'll be somewhere at least once during the week. All right. So let's get into it. I want to talk about 7 things a man does that creates conflict in his own relationship. And it's not to bash you, brothers, not at all. And it's for my brothers. Are you listening? All 7 of these need to be accomplished in order for you to have a sustainable relationship. Remember, all 7 of these need to be upheld or not attempted. So I'm going to explain what I'm talking about for you to have a successful relationship. All right. So I'm going to get into my list and Facebook Live. I'm going to go into 2 of them. And after 2 of them, I'm going to cut off the Facebook Live and it's going to be on my YouTube channel. And that's Spiritual Development Channel. Subscribe to the Spiritual Development Channel, Nasi Shuba. So if you want to jump on now, jump onto the Spiritual Development Channel, and we going live. Facebook, we're live now. All right. One thing I want to start out with, and I see it all the time, is that a lot of times us as males we punish our women for their mistakes. This is rule number 1. Don't punish a woman for her mistakes. Think about it. Do you make mistakes? And how many times do you make mistakes daily? It is not the mistakes that we want to punish. And when I talk about punish, sometimes you may refrain from talking to your wife or maybe even withhold sex because she did something wrong, maybe cooked the meal wrong or didn't do something right. Let's not punish our wives for mistakes because in our life and our existence, our whole realm of how we deal with things and go through life is based off of learning from mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. If there was no mistakes being made, then there's no education. So anytime there's something where there's a shortcoming in a meal or something is not done or something has been forgotten about, we have to be very cautious not to punish our woman for that. And one thing that a woman's going to develop is a form of resentment for the punishment. Now her behavior is going to be hesitant against doing certain things for you. So now she may want to do something for you, but she has a fear of doing it wrong. Think about it. She may have to do something for you and is hesitant and causes her to make more mistakes because you're so critical. Just like as if you was a child and your parents were very critical of things that you have done, then you will be a procrastinator in life. It is a natural response and reaction. So that's one. And I don't have them in no particular order, but I want you to bear with me. And I want to go into Proverbs 19 to support that theory that I just spoke on. Proverbs 19:11. It says, "A man shows intelligence by his forbearance, by his patience. It is a glory when he overlooks an offense." Now, the Hebrew word for an offense is shagag or shagaga. It's an error. It's not something done intentionally. So now it says a man is blessed when he shows patience. So now we have to be patient with our wives and not frustrated. A lot of times we get frustrated as males because we're just upset or we're angry about a lot of stuff going on. And so we tend to be short. We tend to be sharp when we deal with our women because there's something else going on with us. Now, if the relationship is so toxic that you can't speak or converse, because if you look at it, when you look in the scriptures, it talked about Joseph and his brothers. It said that they hated him so much that they couldn't speak to him kindly. Now, if you're in a relationship and the person can't speak to you kindly, that means their level of hatred has elevated to a certain level. So now we have to see what level that has elevated to. But if it get that far, then we're into another realm of the conversation. But at the same time, you can successfully save it by being patient, and that's by the next step. Number two, never muffle your woman. When you don't allow your woman to express her emotions or her feelings, then there becomes issues. If you're in a heated debate or argument and you're saying one thing and she's lashing back, then one of you have to withdraw for the conversation. But one of the things that you can do to stop that from blowing up is allow moments to vent where you just listen. Even if it's wrong, fellas, listen. Because now when you listen, you can actually oppose some of the stuff that later time. We don't want to get into emotions versus emotions. Once a person says something against you and they're lying and is in the heat of battle and is in tension, then it gets and escalates into a level that is not righteous. And brothers, if you don't allow your wives to speak and allow them to express themselves, then you're not taking on her purpose. Her purpose is to be a help meet or help you meet your desires. You may have all intention to do something, but you don't have the proper means to get there. And this is what a good woman does. She helps you get to where you're trying to go to, your destination, your goal. But in it is going to take opposition against what you're doing that's not getting you to your goal. Think about that. And if you don't allow her to express herself and vent, then the Torah speaks and it says something about that. And we can go into the book of Leviticus 19. And it's not just with a woman, it's with any individual. Leviticus 19, verse 17. And it says thus: You shall not hate your kinfolk in your heart. So it's setting up. It's telling you how this hatred is going to come apart or come about. Reprove your kinsman, but do not incur guilt because of him. So it's saying if you don't rebuke your kinsman, then you're going to hold resentment for a person. So, brothers, I know we want to feel macho and feel masculine and don't want to hear stuff about ourselves. But even if you're that type of person, create an environment where there's times that you can hear stuff about yourself where you're feeling good. Or you can say, hey, babe, what's wrong? All right, well, let's talk. Because a lot of times a woman won't tell you what's wrong. But you can skip all of that by creating an environment of certain times where she can speak and feel comfortable speaking without the repercussions of your response. And even though your response may be 100% accurate, brothers, you still have to contemplate what she's saying. If that's the one you love, if that's the one you chose to bear your children, if that's the one you love, you have to be strong about it. And you have to give it that opportunity. So we're going to cut the Facebook Live feed off and go straight to the Spiritual Development Channel. So if you're not on the Spiritual Development Channel, tune into the Spiritual Development Channel and we're going to go to the rest of the file. Thank you. All right. Now, number three is financial instability. And I say this because in many Hebrew Israelite communities, the woman is bearing the bulk of the bills. I don't think I hear me. The women is bearing the bulk of the bills. They are paying for most of the stuff. So when you look into the scriptures, you see most of the men married at 40 years old. And why is that? Well, 40 years old, there's emotional maturity developed in the brain. Your brain starts to develop emotional maturity. And you're able to sustain yourself. And so now we go into the ideal concept, a concept where most of us marry for potential, but men, do not allow yourself to get into a relationship when you're in the potential stage. America has created a system where it takes dual incomes. And sometimes there's some men that can pay for all your bills. But even that doesn't make them completely righteous or out of the loop, and we'll get into that. But in it, it's for you to at least pay the major bills as a man. If you got rent or mortgage, cover it. Light, gas, water, cover it. Minor credit card bills, whatever. But if you're going into a relationship and the woman is paying most of the bills, then how can a person that's inferior act as the superior? It makes no sense. Who's buying it? And I know some circumstances where women says, "Oh, come here, marry me, I'll take care of you." Brothers, even if that's true, 5% of the time, never believe it. Because that idea and concept will destroy you. You can never be inferior and act as a superior because nobody's falling for that. That's like you taking care of somebody, you putting all this bread into this individual and supporting their dreams and their vision, and all they do is tell you what to do. We have to be realistic. So that's three. Four, lying. Now, one of the things I try not to do with my wives is lie. And I try hard because I hate lying. Lying and manipulation is a form of inferiority. If you lie to your wife, that means that you fear her or you're scared of what she's going to say or do. And if that's the point, then maybe you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. When we get into the scriptures, it says, you should not bear false witness against thy neighbor. But in truth, it talks about a false testimony. The people that you care for or look over, you should never give them a false testimony. So, brothers, if you're creeping behind your wife's back and they don't know when you're doing this and you're doing that, or you're doing certain things, or you're spending money where you shouldn't, or you're in certain clubs, strip clubs, these are things that will make you destroy a woman's belief in you. You can never trust a person that lies. So think about it. If I'm your leader and I'm lying to you all the time, how can you believe in me? But see, sometimes as Hebrews, we hide behind this notion or this belief that I'm the man, I can do what I want and say what I do and you listen. Even if I lie, you should still follow me. Even if I cheat, you should still think I'm honorable. Males, we don't believe that. Never lie to your wife. Even if you get that feeling is hesitant not to tell her, just tell her. Because a lot of times you got a woman that loves you, she's going to support you. And a woman is going to support you for your honesty. And even if you're honest with a woman and sometimes she don't take it a good way, then there's some things that you have to evaluate. And I'm not talking about a chaotic woman. I'm not talking about a woman that is tumultuous or contentious. I'm not talking about them kind of women. And then at times, sometimes we make our women contentious and we label them contentious because we don't want them to say anything against what we're doing. And I'm speaking to us, brothers. This is our show. So from now on, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. And I want to hear some suggestions for another show for our brothers because this is what we're going to have once a week. All right. Another thing is being irresponsible. Being irresponsible is something that you have to be able to monitor because you're responsible for everything in the house. It's not the fact that your wife can't help you, but you have to show that you're disciplined enough to maintain the things that you have. And that will encourage others to be responsible. Now, remember, all of these seven must be followed. If not, your relationship is going to be on decline eventually. All right. Another important thing is a lot of brothers in this Hebrew Israelite community, they're teachers on the internet and they speak such and such, but they don't teach their women. You have to be your woman's teacher and inspire her. If you're not teaching your woman and inspiring your woman, most of the time that probably means that you yourself don't study enough to inspire her. You yourself don't study enough to teach her. So, brothers, we got to think about these things. We got to think about all the things that we can do as males to be better brothers, to be better husbands. Imagine you not teaching your woman and she wants to learn about Yah. Are you creating an outlet for her to go elsewhere? And then when she challenges you what somebody else says, it's because you didn't teach her enough? For my brothers, from me to you. Load your wives with the information. Study the stuff that you know and the direction that you're going. And show her the direction. And inspire her. Inspire her. Push her to get where you want her to be. You cannot study and expect your wife to be spiritual. You cannot study and not teach her and expect her to follow the path that you are on. Because in truth, you're not on a path. It is just a disguise. Now, seven. I want to get into seven. Always make sure that within your main vision, her vision is inside of that. Meaning that whatever she's doing, it benefits you, and whatever you're doing, it benefits her. Because if she has ideas and concepts and visions that she want to push and is not there, then you will destroy her and she will hold animosity and resentment towards you. It's the absolute truth. You cannot hide from this. If you're growing and you're developing, you have dreams and visions, and she has visions, and all her visions are being pushed off, then that cohesiveness in a relationship is not going to be there. Now, there could be flaws in her vision, but express it. Take the time to understand her. Take the time to be with her. And take the time to love her. So, right now, we're going to go into if anybody has any questions, any statements that need to be read, we go into that. And if not, we close out. Hallelujah. Nasi Yeshua, Spiritual Development Channel. Thank you.